David Hume is often remembered as the philosopher who took empiricism to its most radical form, but beyond his skepticism about causality and religion, it's his dismantling of the idea of the self that still unsettles even the most modern mind. Hume's project begins with a simple question: where do our ideas come from? For Hume, all ideas begin as impressions, vivid, direct experiences like the color red or the feeling of anger. Once these fade, they become ideas, fainter copies stored in memory and imagination. He writes, all the perceptions of the human mind resolve themselves into two distinct kinds, which I shall call impressions and ideas. The difference between these consists in the degrees of force and liveliness with which they strike upon the mind and make their way into our thought or consciousness. From this basis, Hume launches his most unsettling insight. When you look inward and try to find the thing called the self, you find, Hume says, nothing. Not nothing as an empty space, but no single stable entity. Instead, you find a stream of ever changing perceptions. He puts it bluntly: for my part, when I enter most intimately into what I call myself, I always stumble on some particular perception or other of heat or cold, light or shade, love or hatred, pain or pleasure. I never can catch myself at any time without a perception, and never can observe anything but the perception. There is no fixed I behind the curtain, only the curtain itself, an ongoing theatre of sensations and thoughts. For Hume, the self isn't a substance, it's a bundle, a collection of constantly changing perceptions held together by memory and habit, but with no true unity. This bundle theory of the self is one of Hume's most original contributions to philosophy. It goes beyond earlier empiricists like Locke, who did argue that the self is tied to memory but still assumed that there was some consistent person doing the remembering. Hume says even that assumption is unwarranted. The idea of personal identity is just a fiction we project onto our experience. In fact, he explicitly challenges Locke's view. It is plain that the identity which we ascribe to the mind of man is only a fictitious one, like the identity which we ascribe to plants and vegetables, where a succession of parts is connected by a close relation and similar form. If the self is just a bundle of perceptions, the next question is, why do we believe in a unified self at all? Why do we think there is something constant behind our thoughts, memories, and emotions? Hume's answer: psychological habit. It's not reason, but custom that convinces us of personal identity. The mind, according to Hume, naturally creates continuity where there is none, simply because the perceptions follow each other in a smooth enough sequence. We stitch together this flow of experiences and call it me. So when you remember your childhood, Hume argues, you're not connecting to a real persisting you. You're linking one present perception, a memory, to another one, and from that creating the illusion of identity. Memory doesn't prove a self, it just connects impressions. This is a radical position even among empiricists. Locke claimed that personal identity was grounded in memory but still assumed that some underlying self experienced those memories. Hume strips that away. There is no core self experiencing them, just the memories themselves.